The dangers of overpricing and how you can benefit. That doesn't sound like it makes much sense, does it? Well, I've often said, and one of my first principles of listing properties is that overpricing is not a good strategy. But there is a way that you can benefit as a seller, and I'll tell you how. So stick around. My name is Tony. This is Run the Comps. Here we go. Welcome back to Run the Comps, the channel that values up your real estate game. My name is Tony. I've been a licensed agent and an investor and a property analyst for well over 20 years, and I've seen some crazy things in my time. Today, we're going to go look at a home over in the historical district and talk about how overpricing can be a bad thing and maybe even a good thing. So let's get right to it. Before we take a tour of the property, let me tell you a little bit about the history of this property that I was able to dig up in the local tax records and the MLS. So in 2012, an investor purchased this property. The price was undisclosed because it was an off-market transaction. It was purchased by an investor. This is an investor that I know. He does some wholesaling and some fix and flips, and he held the property for about a year and a half. And then in 2014, after he finished his renovation, he sold it to an owner-occupant buyer on the MLS, on the open market, for $395,000. This is back in 2014. The owner-occupant buyer lived here for about 10 years, from 2014 to 2024. In the tax records, there is a transaction that's showing, and it took place in June of 2024, where that owner-occupant buyer, now a seller, sold the property to another investor. This investor looks really a whole lot like an iBuyer to me. An iBuyer is typically described as an instant buyer or an internet buyer. Regardless, they are investors, and this was an investor purchase off market, price undisclosed, in June of 2024. Now, when I'm working with sellers and we haven't gone to the open market just yet, I always encourage them to get offers from iBuyers before going to the open market. And in some cases, multiple iBuyers. There's lots of iBuyers out there, and they come in many different shapes and forms. And iBuyers is basically just a cash buyer, an investor who will come in and make a quick, hassle-free purchase. The reason I encourage sellers to get cash offers or iBuyer offers prior to going to the open market is because these buyers love off-market properties, and they'll usually give you a better offer before that property goes to the open market and is exposed at a certain price. You may be thinking that cash buyers are never going to be able to give you the sort of offer that you might be able to get on the open market, but think again. You might be able to get a whole list of cash offers, and they're going to have a pretty broad range to them because the guys that are coming in saying, here's a no-nonsense offer, no more haggling, no inspections, no repairs, as is. Sometimes those can be a pretty fair offer, just depending on the condition of your property. Now, some of the other offers might come in, especially these from the big corporate iBuyers. They're going to come in with a higher figure sometimes, but those offers come with a lot of razzle dazzle. They're going to have fees, program fees, commissions. If you have an agent involved, you still have to pay that person. And then they're going to come in and do inspections and want to chisel you down for some repairs and stuff like that. But in the end, you might find that you're going to get a pretty fair deal, especially when you talk about the convenience of that transaction. You've got a lot of certainty there when you accept one of those cash offers and you move forward with it. And sometimes that's a good thing. And this is what I'm talking about, that you might be able to benefit from overpricing. Well, you're not exactly overpricing, but sometimes they will overprice, especially when they know they're competing with one another and the benefit is all to the seller. While we really don't know how much was paid for that off-market transaction to the current owner, iBuyer owner, well, we can pull up the comps from that period of time, about 6 months prior to that transaction, and see what the comps were and get a pretty good idea of a range of pricing where this iBuyer most likely paid for this property. So let's get those comps up on the screen here. Now you can see there's some pretty good activity in this area in the 6 months prior. And all these properties that sold, when you look at sort of the middle of this group of properties, there is a chunk of properties there in the middle that are similar vintage properties like this one, sort of historical age properties. and those sold between 650 to 750. And then when you look at the average or median pricing for homes during that period that sold, you could see down here about 745,000 is about the average there. So you have a group of comps right there that support a value range of 650 to 750. Now, also something else to pay attention to is that the average days on market for all of those sales was 91 days. So it's taking at that time about 3 months to sell a property in this neighborhood. Now, we do know that this seller bought the property 10 years ago for $395,000. Let's take a worst case scenario and let's say that the net sale when they sold to the iBuyer in 2024 was, say, around 650. So it looks like that seller may have cashed in with about 250, maybe up to 300,000 in equity and ran all the way to the bank. All right, so given that worst case scenario of say a $650,000 sale and that seller walks away with 250K in equity, pretty quick and easy. I mean, it was a simple transaction, didn't take very long. There was no hassles. They're on down the road with their money in their pocket. Meanwhile, you might be thinking, hey, they might have done better on the open market. Well, maybe, maybe not. When you hear what's going to happen next, you might be thinking that 250 on a quick cash deal looks pretty enticing. So the iBuyer that purchased this property, they turned around and relisted it within 30 days. So it was a pretty quick turn for them. They got it back on the market and they listed it at $815,000. That sounds pretty crazy. That's pretty high, but there were actually some sold comps in the area that would support a value like that at the time. So that's where they listed it. Now, these iBuyers, they're in the business of making money and turning properties quickly. And when they listed this property at $815,000 back in June of 2024, they had a plan. Their plan was we'll put it up high and then we will reduce the price at certain intervals along the way until we get it sold. Well, let's get their price reduction history up on the screen here. And you could see that, yeah, that's exactly what they've done. They've had a lot of price reductions over the course of this listing. So it's been listed here. You can see probably 5 months, maybe a little more. And they've reduced the price multiple times for a total of over $150,000. I mean, that's like reducing the price $1,000 a day during the course of this listing. Well, and the property ended up expiring and they only recently relisted it again at the same 650,000 where they left off last time, and they haven't had a price reduction since November. Well, property still sits here. It's not sold. What do you say we go take a tour and see what it's all about? Okay, this property, it's got a brick exterior. Yeah, the roof looks okay. I don't know if it's very old or not. Kind of hard to tell, but might get a new roof soon. But let's go on in and take a look around. All right, so one of the first things I noticed, got beautiful hardwood floors. Somebody's done some painting up there on that wall. It's got a little issue with the hardware on the front door here, but pretty good looking property here. Got a fireplace in the living room. And let's make our way around to the kitchen. This looks like it might be a dining area. It's got some built-ins. Now, this property, it's 2,726 square feet, and it was built originally in 1922, and it had a renovation, the last renovation we know of, in 2013. So you can see, I mean, the kitchen looks pretty good. It's been updated, got some granite tops, got this nice vintage sink. I mean, I don't know if that's what folks really want anymore. I mean, it's kind of got that farm sink to it, but it needs to be refinished. And there's not even a disposer under here. And the dishwasher is way over here. Okay. There's like there's a refrigerator. Wow, you can get a free TV, and it's got a big island, granite island here with a vegetable sink and some gas cooking over here. All right, let's move on around and back in the living room here. Now there's a couple of bedrooms downstairs. Good sized bedroom. Got some high ceilings. This bedroom has its own bathroom here. Um, you know, I don't know about the quality of this remodel here. That shower pan looks kind of janky. Got a pedestal sink. Um, but here you are. I mean, this is a historical house, right? So let's go on over this way to the other bedroom. This bedroom also has its own bathroom, and bathroom's a little quirky here, but you get this tub shower set up, but it's really narrow through here. So again, kind of a quirky setup. A pretty good sized closet there, and beautiful green paint. Now I think there's a let's see, there's a storage closet here, and there's your access to the crawl space. And then over here, got a half bath. So uh, get a lot of these antique doorknobs throughout. Got a little Nest thermostat, and then there's a pantry behind that closet right there. And then out here, it's got a closed-in porch, and not very unusual for houses like this. And then here is a full-size laundry room. Got the appliances included. And so let's go take a quick look at the backyard. So it's got little decking around out here, and it's got some PVC cleanouts. So maybe the plumbing has been updated, the sewer lines, that is. Um, got a nice big electric panel going on out here. So that looks like it's probably been updated at some point. Something I saw around the corner here that I thought was really strange was that you've got this like covered patio of sorts over here on the side of the house, and there's like really no door that goes to it. It looks like maybe at one time or another there was a door here. I don't know what's going on with that, because you got these steps here. Something's been closed in. I don't know what's going on with that. Um, it might need some fresh paint. I mean, some of that paint is sort of flaking a little bit under there, but again, not unusual to be in need of some maintenance around here. It's got a nice big fence, and it's got a garage out back here. And I don't know what's going on there, but it looks like this property has a shared driveway with the neighbor. I don't know if the garages are shared. It looks like somebody's being used over there. I don't know what's going on. Kind of an unusual situation, but let's go back inside, finish our tour, because there is an upstairs area here that I want to show you. I'm gonna get that door locked. And then right over here, where did those stairs go? Oh, they're behind that door. I got lost. Or it's kind of a big house. So here's these stairs, which come down into the kitchen area, but let's go up the stairs. The carpet is not the greatest. It's pretty well used. And as we get up this way, there's a full-size bedroom here. I mean, it's a pretty good sized room. And then you've got this little breezeway that goes out to a front porch, balcony out there. And then around this way, you've got an extra closet space here. Got a big walk-in closet. And then you've got the master bathroom. And you can see they've tried to replicate the old clawfoot tub. It's got a nice big shower, double vanity. It's pretty cool. Um, is it up to par with some of the other properties around here? Not so sure about that. This property, I would say, does need some TLC in order to bring it up to a higher value. But all in all, it's all about living in the neighborhood here. This is a historical district neighborhood, and so it's got a great urban location. It's close to downtown, close to a lot of things, close to White Rock Lake. So there's a lot of good things about the neighborhood. People love living over here because of the location. It's an established area. You're gonna find different types of properties around here. Like down the street, there's a couple of multifamily units, and it could be as many as 6 to 8 units in each building. So you're going to find some of that around here. You're going to find some newer construction around here. Some of the newer construction competes at the same price point. Some of it doesn't. You've got some condos, attached townhomes. So a multitude of different types of properties that you can get in and around this neighborhood. All right, let's talk about the comps for this neighborhood. Now, let's get the CMA up on the screen here, and you can see that for active listings, there's only 5 active listings at this time, and the subject is rightfully so. It's priced down towards the bottom of the price bracket at $650 at this point, but it's been on the market for 232 days. There's another listing out there that's been on the market for 197 days, so it's been out there quite a while as well. And things really don't seem to be moving as fast as they did back at the time when this property was purchased by the iBuyer. A couple of new listings there, but let's move over to the sold comps. And so we've got a pretty good group of sold comps, but way fewer sold comps in the last 6 months than there were in the first 6 months of 2024. And you can see, like I said, there are some homes that have sold in this area that support the higher price. But when you look around at this property, I'm not so sure the quality of it supports a higher price. Now, there's a couple of these properties I'd like to point out to you. Let's start with 5006 Rieger. Now, this property, it sold rather quick. It did sell back in July of last year. So that was shortly after this property appeared on the market, our subject property, that is. And it was only on the market, Rieger was only on the market for 22 days. Now, that property, let's pull up some photos of that property. It was really nice. I mean, it's got some character, some charm, some quality, and price. And I think all of those characteristics right there is what led to a 22-day sale for that property at $750,000. It looks like it was priced right to begin with because they didn't have any time to do a price reduction on that one. So they came out to the market at 775, I believe, and then sold it at 750. So they did pretty well with that one. Now, the other property I want to talk about is the one at 4834 Worth Street. Now, that listing was on the market for 144 days. And so during the time it was on the market, it looks like it started. Let's pull up the history on that one. And so you could see that the property on Worth Street was clearly overpriced at the time they came onto the market. They started at 875 and eventually reduced it down to 825 before that listing expired. And then they fired their agent, got a new agent, relisted at 799 and magically sold it within 10 days. So again, another house. Let's get some photos up on that one. It's a cute house. Again, got some charm and quality and character to it. And then once the price was right, it sold very quickly. So that just kind of goes to show that overpricing may not always work for you. So as we wrap stuff up, we look at the subject property and go, wow, is this property even in the same league as some of those sold comps? I don't think so. This property, it's all about location. It's not so much about quality. It does have a little bit of character, but it's going to take some work to get this thing right again and bring the value up to where some of those others are. The final message today is get yourself a local market expert and get them to help you collect some cash investor offers right up front. Some iBuyer offers. You might be thinking that those offers really aren't going to tickle your fancy, but you may be surprised. Somebody may give you an offer that really fits your needs at the time. I mean, folks tend to overprice things just like sellers do sometimes. So you never know. I mean, it looks like this seller made out pretty well. I mean, they took their 250K, they ran to the bank. Meanwhile, this iBuyer is struggling to get this property sold, and you don't want that to be you. You'd rather have it be them. So with that said, my name is Tony. This is Run the Comps. I'm out.